the beginning. My reflection I don't recognize. This is the beginning. We think we've come so high. Up all the backs we've come down.
All right, folks, we are back. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. We're going to go to your calls. Mark, Nick, Jason, Jared, and more. But first, I want to play this Max Kaiser clip. There's an article up over at Infowars.com. Paul Joseph Watson, Kurt Nemo doing a great job. They've got that End of the Internet Rupert Murdoch article up there. And now this. Let's play the clip, Jaron.
Known in the United States as Chapter 11. President Barack Obama said no jobs would be lost in the short term and that Chrysler, as expected, would enter into a partnership with the Italian car company Fiat. According to the White House, Chrysler was forced to take the decision after talks broke down with its lenders late on Wednesday night. Its proposals for restructuring the company were approved by its main banks, which hold 70% of its debt, but rejected by hedge funds that hold a sizable proportion of its remaining debt. A White House official said the hedge funds had failed to act in either their own economic interest or the national interest. Well, joining me now to discuss the implications for Chrysler and the rest of the U.S. car industry is Max Kaiser, who's an independent financial analyst and the founder of KarmaBank.com. Thanks very much for being on the program. What exactly is Chapter 11 bankruptcy?
Well, first of all, before we get to that, let's examine what you just said, which is a very revealing statement. You said that the bankruptcy was approved on some levels, but rejected by the hedge funds in America. Now, why are the hedge funds dictating policy in America? They're complete speculative pools of capital, unregulated, without any oversight from any government agency at all. They're, in fact, rogue agents in the economy, and then they dictate the economy. Hedge funds, they become what I call the divine right of hedge funds. They consider themselves godlike. They obey no one. And here they are slamming all these workers, the Chrysler workers and all the parts, of course, the companies that supply parts to Chrysler, and the entire auto industry is being completely rearranged by these marauding hedge funds. And what's really pathetic are the American workers. The American workers are pathetic. They don't do anything to defend themselves. They just roll over and take it. America has become a nation of whining crybabies. They refuse to stand up for themselves, and the workers should be given no respect whatsoever. Now, to answer your question, what is Chapter 11? It's a way for
Did they have no choice but to go for Chapter 11 once the hedge funds had decided not to play ball with Barack Obama's proposal?
Well, you know, the hedge funds are saying that they make more money with Chrysler dead than alive because the hedge funds made bets that Chrysler would collapse. And it's more valuable to them. They make more money if these bets pay off, that Chrysler goes out of business. So they made a bet using credit default swaps that Chrysler goes out of business. They're using this global casino model. So they're really just speculating on the corpses. It's like the people back in, a lot of the brokers who were working in the Twin Towers during the 9/11 incident were actually making bets against airlines exploding. So they were making bets on their own demise. Here, hedge funds are making bets against the demise of Chrysler workers. Yeah. So capitalism is now eating itself in America. It's swallowing itself. It's destroying itself because they're going after the last crumbs on the table as the American economy implodes.
Okay, to go back to the original question, what does Chapter 11 protection?
It's the two major bankruptcy scenarios are Chapter 11 and Chapter 7. Chapter 11 allows for a workout to take place within, with the company still operating on some basis. Let's say Chapter 7 is they shut the doors and it's all over. So Chapter 11 allows for a workout to take place. So they'll be, the lights will still be on and they'll be working through these issues under Chapter 11.
And in the short term, Barack Obama says jobs will be saved. Is he right?
But these workers' jobs, the workers aren't getting any representation at all. I mean, they're going to fire millions of workers in the entire auto industry. Chrysler, Ford, General Motors. You know, Chrysler has something called Chrysler Financial, which is their lending arm. They want to merge that with General Motors' lending arm. Again, that's great for the banks, but the workers get nothing. The workers are just being completely X'd out of the equation. It's not like France. It's not like France. In France, workers actually have representation. They can kidnap the boss in France, and they can get away with that. In America, if they try to kidnap the boss, they'd be gunned down by the American Homeland Security. They have no ability to protest in America. The workers,
now,
they're just cogs in a wheel. They're treated like complete mud.
If I could just switch to the direction a little bit. Part of this deal is that Fiat is going to get a 20% stake in Chrysler. What does Fiat bring to the table?
They bring the ability to offload a lot of debt on the international debt markets, basically. Behind the scenes, this is just a banking deal. I mean, Fiat, they have a dealership involvement. They want to save their dealership to some degree. But pretty much, you have to look at this purely from the banking perspective. And they've got banking relationships in Europe. And as you know, a lot of the money that came from the federal government to bail out Chrysler went mostly into the pockets of foreign banks. Fiat's connected to European banks. And so it's great for the bankers, and it cannot be said that this does anything for the workers.
Fiat had its own problems with insolvency just a couple of years back, didn't it?
That's right. So, again, you're putting together dying corporations in an attempt to make more fees, to extract just yet more banking fees. This is the key. These companies are very sick because they've been run into the ground. Now, as they're falling apart, there's an attempt to merge them and restructure them to get out that last fee. So the people who are doing these bailouts, supposedly, imagine they're like Dracula, and the sun's about to come up, and they haven't had their fix yet. And the Dracula is starving for blood. So they see Chrysler, so they go in there and they extract that last bit of blood.
But in your opinion, the notion that Fiat could rescue Chrysler by providing this small car technology is completely illusory.
No, because it's a drowning person trying to save another drowning person. They're all drowning because there's no representation of the people who are doing the jobs. They refuse to stand up and get any kind of say in this process. They're allowing the bankers and the hedge funds to tell them what they should do. And the bankers and the hedge funds, their interest, it has nothing to do with the workers' interest. They want to eliminate the entire middle classes in America because they're in the way of the bankers. They want to return to a two-tier economy with elites and proles. And this is what they're going to. They want to get rid of the whole thing that happened in 1776. That was very inconvenient for the aristocrats in America.
Very briefly, how scary is this news for the rest of the car industry in the United States?
The car industry in the United States is being completely destroyed because of these hedge funds and bankers who see the workers, they see the workers as weak. So they're going to continue to destroy them. They're weak. And the savage capitalism you see, as it's called here in the United States, as long as the workers refuse to stand up for themselves, you can have hedge funds continuing to take advantage of them and beat them.
At that point, Mike, I'm going to have to stop you. I'm afraid we've run out of time. But do join us again next week for another edition.
All right, folks, there you have it. Max Kaiser telling it like it is one more time. The man is really amazing. He incorporates 9/11 truth into almost every interview I see because it's an important issue. He's talking just like I've been talking the past couple days. America is soft. You're right. The auto workers really don't deserve that much credit because they're not standing up for themselves. They're the last industry in this country that makes anything. And they're just going to take the rape fest ramrod, unfortunately. Max Kaiser, we're going to have to set him up and get him back on the program in the next coming weeks because the man is spot on. He sees what's happening. He says it right there. They want a two-tier system. They want the proletariat, us, begging like the serfs they see us as, begging like the sheeple, like the insignificant masses that have to cow down to our lords, the elite, the rich, the powerful. It's disgusting. All right, let's go to Mark in Oregon. Mark, you're on the line.
Hey, good evening, Jason. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Well, I tell you, Jason, I was thinking earlier today that you may very well be the only person today and tomorrow that is doing 7 hours of live radio in the whole wide world. You might be the only one in the whole world.
That is a good possibility. God, I didn't even really think of that.
Yeah, you need to write this in to Guinness Book of World Records, maybe. And see how
you know what? Well, you know what? They passed pandemic level 6. I'm going 24/7, 365 until I literally pass out or they drag me out. So maybe I will beat a record there.
Yeah, right. When they've still got the pandemic level at 5, I think that's still in effect, which is essentially 6. But even 5 is martial law. Mm-hmm. All it has to do is be implemented, but it brings